Okay, today let's talk about whether or not you should get a fabric with a moisture barrier. What's a moisture barrier? Well, when you have a regular woven fabric, it's porous. Water and liquid of all types can pass right through it into the seat cushion underneath, which can be a bit of a mess if you spill something or you have a dog have an accident, juice box spill, anything like that. A fabric that has a moisture barrier on it has beneath, on the underside of the fabric, it has a polyurethane coating that is microperforated. That polyurethane coating is a barrier to prevent any liquid from seeping through the fabric into the cushion underneath. It also makes spills and stains a lot easier to clean because they're not fully penetrating the fabric. They're not getting into the foam underneath and causing odors or moisture. It's just a lot more practical. It's a relatively uncommon thing. There are not a lot of furniture companies out there that are building with it. I will tell you at the end why, but first I want to show you the difference. So I have two nice boucle style fabrics. They look a lot alike, as you can tell, very similar color, relatively similar texture and all of that. There's some benefits to both of them. Their colorways are a little bit different, but they're from the same manufacturer. One of them is a traditional fabric without a barrier, and one of them has the barrier. So I'm gonna throw a little water on it and we'll see how it reacts. Got a little water here. I'm just gonna pour it on and see what happens. Now, it beads up a little bit on this, but it is soaking through ultimately into the material, and it will over time. So this is a big difference. If you spill and immediately clean something up on a traditional fabric, you can usually get it out, but over time it is going to soak in. That's going to become more of a problem. Now, if we do the fabric with a moisture barrier, it just runs off and makes a mess on my desk, but it just runs right off. It does not absorb in at all. So it's very advantageous. It makes the cleanup process a lot simpler. It makes, it requires less fussing to clean things up. It's going to reduce your stains, your odors, things like that over time. So what are some potential disadvantages to going with the fabric? I mean, clear, obvious advantage here. It's a lot more practical for a busy household. What are some disadvantages to a fabric with a moisture barrier? Well, there are a few. I don't think they're that significant, but things to consider. First off, a lot of people are concerned about the materials that are used in fabrics, and some of them object to the use of synthetic fabrics, synthetic fibers. A moisture barrier has a polyurethane undercoat, as I mentioned, so you are not, of course, going to get a natural fabric with a moisture barrier. That's not going to be an option. Now, these are made to a very high standard. They're made without the use of harmful chemicals. They're compliant with a lot of the standards that are out there, and I think they're incredibly safe for your family, for your home. So I don't really see that there's any significant reason that you should avoid them. But if you personally object to that and really want a natural fabric, you're not going to find it. Secondly, your options are going to be limited because not every type of fabric is available with this. It means there are not as many lines. Now, Nasimi, who manufactures this and does a beautiful job with it, they're rapidly adding new fabric lines to this product line with the barrier. So I think the availability is going to increase over time. The number of colors and textures and things that you can get will grow. But for example, we don't have like a velvet with a barrier yet. So you're going to have to kind of pick and choose. This is the thing that happens as you start to get more selective with what you're putting on your sofa. You're going to run into fewer options in certain ways. But we have a nice range of colors, nice range of textures already. So I think great options for you to get started with. The third thing is that it's a little tricky to work with because it is not as porous as a traditional fabric. So it breathes differently. And that does mean a few things really more for us than for you. When we manufacture a cushion with a fabric that has a moisture barrier on it, like we do with leather, have to add a vent panel into that cushion to allow that cushion to breathe when you sit on it, compress it, and when it then relaxes. Because the perforations in the barrier are not that large, it does not breathe as readily or as naturally as a traditional fabric would. So that's a thing to consider. Again, not the end of the world, but it is a kind of a determining factor there. It is generally going to be a little bit thicker as a fabric as well. Now, I think in most cases that's going to be a good thing because thicker fabrics tend to hold the shape a little bit better, show a little bit less wrinkling and that sort of stuff on cushions. So I think it's a net positive for you. It's more work for us. It's harder to work on, but we have extremely talented people who build extremely complicated sofas already. We can handle it, and I think it's well worth the look for you. These are coming at not a significant premium over traditional fabrics. You're not paying a ton more for them. So on our site, definitely look for them. They're going to be under the category of Supreen, S-U-P-R-E-E-N. That line is all built with a moisture barrier. They're all really cool, lots of great looks. Check them out and give us a shout if you have any questions about it.